everyone, this is Gwendolyn. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if it's your first time here. This video is going to be on the full moon lunar eclipse that we have happening in Libra on March 23rd. It's going to be happening at 5 a.m. That's Pacific Standard Time. And the Sabian symbol for 4 degrees Libra is a group of young people sit in a spiritual communion around a campfire. It's also about fellowship of higher ideals that sustains the individuals on their path to reality. So one of the things I wanted to point out with this lunar eclipse and full moon in Libra, and as well as the last new moon that we had in Pisces, which was a total solar eclipse, is that both of these signs, both Pisces and Libra, are very idealistic, and they're both dual signs. So in other words, they show duality for us. Pisces with the 2 fish and Libra with the 2 scales. So it's really about finding balance. There's a lot of idealism with this whole arrangement, and we also just passed the beginning of spring, the spring equinox, which creates a new freshness, a new solar year. It creates a lot of, idealism, essentially, in this whole season. So with this idealism, the focus is really on finding balance with this duality and this idealism. Pisces, the 2 fish, it's balancing of the self and the other. So how is it that you can both subscribe to the higher ideals of how we engage with others, but yet also be true to yourself and not tend to put others first, but consider yourself and others' needs as equal. Both Pisces and Libra can have a tendency to put others first because of their idealistic nature, but this lunar eclipse is sort of bringing up the shadow side of that and seeing if are we able to balance the self with the other. So that's one of the focuses that's coming up with this lunar eclipse. If that's an issue for you, be ready to shine some light on it and see if you can bring that back into balance, because both Pisces and Libra are about finding balance. For Pisces, it's usually about finding balance between extremes, and for Libra, it's usually about finding balance within partnerships with the self and the other. So, to get started with where this lunar eclipse and full moon in Libra is going to land for each sign, I'm starting with Libra here. Libra, this full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your first house of identity. So, when things hit our first house, it affects, there's something about your identity, yourself, that's coming to light, that's coming to conclusion, that's coming to fruition. If you look back to about 6 months ago when the new moon in Libra first happened, there were probably seeds that were sown or intentions that have had time to gestate and come to light. Full moons illuminate your new self, your new identity. So there may be a way in which you feel like a new person, Libra, especially with this just passing of the spring and with these eclipses happening this month. You may feel a real sense of renewal. On the flip side, you could also feel like it's a new you, that you're still putting on new clothes, still getting used to it. When we first learn how to ride a bicycle, sometimes that new feeling or that new skill takes some adjusting and getting used to. But there's a lot going on for you, Libra, in terms of having light shown on this new self, this new identity of who you are. That's this full moon in Libra coming up for you. For Scorpio, this full moon total lunar eclipse in Libra is happening in your 12th house. So this is the house of the unconscious. When full moons come up in the unconscious house for us, it may mean that you get some illumination from your dreams. So I'm going to suggest, Scorpio, that you start writing down your dreams right around this full moon, March 23rd. Pay attention to your dreams on the 22nd and the 23rd, and plus or minus 3 to 5 days from this full moon. Your unconscious is highlighted right now. This is where this full moon and this lunar eclipse is taking place. So you may have some things come up in your dreams that are related to your shadow side. There's lots of information there for you right now. So pay attention to things that come up in your unconscious, in your dreams. On the subconscious level, you may have access to illumination of things that are in your subconscious. It would be a great time to do some either journaling work or some depth psychology, or trying to uncover, whatever your process is, trying to uncover some of the illumination and the enlightenment that's coming about in your 12th house, the house of the subconscious or the unconscious. So Scorpio, a great time for you to discover some secrets or some insights related to your dreams or things that are lurking below the surface for your subconscious, working with the shadow self. Really a great time to be featured for that for you, Scorpio. For Sagittarius, this full moon lunar eclipse in Libra is hitting your 11th house. This is your house of friendships, of community, of science, of innovation. So for you, Sagittarius, it might be a time when light is shining on who your friends are. You might get some illumination, some insight, in both what is good and what is troubling in the friendships and the community that you have surrounded yourself with. It may be a time when you are just enjoying all the friendships that you have made over the past 6 months or nurtured, gone to a deeper level with. It may be a time where you're just sort of, that's coming to culmination for you. Or it can also bring up, with this partial lunar eclipse, some of the underbelly of, what some certain friendships hold for you, or certain groups, collectives, the outer community. That can all be featured in the 11th house. It can also be a time where, if you have some insights, because there's a full moon, which usually means illumination and enlightenment and culmination, you could have some real insights regarding your friends or your community. So that's another theme for full moon in the 11th house for you, Sag. For Capricorn, this full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your 10th house, which is the house of career and reputation. So especially being in Libra, this is a feature of balancing the self with the other. So you may want to look at, is there an extent to which your career is based on trying to please others or trying to impress others? How much of it is balanced with your own self-fulfillment? Make sure that those are equal. This is a time when that could be up for review. You may be getting a lot of accolades, a lot of success in your work, because this is a full moon in your 10th house, which is shining on your career. But there's also this lunar eclipse, so there is this sense of the shadow element that could be up for review, where there's a little darkening of the full moon because it's not fully aligned. You may want to look into, how is your career in full alignment with your core self versus your desire to shine for others, because this is the house of reputation. So it's a house of wanting to have accolades, wanting to have success, your career, your place in the outer world. And this is your home house, Capricorn. Capricorn usually governs the 10th house. So the fact that the full moon is here in your 10th house in Libra, make sure that your partnerships, self and other, the way that your career benefits yourself versus others, is really highlighted. So make sure that you take a look at that and see if there's any work in that shadow that you want to explore. For Aquarius, this full moon and lunar eclipse is happening in your 9th house. So this is the house of travel, of higher learning, can be of spirituality. It's also of travel. So if this is being highlighted, if you've been making plans for traveling, you may be enjoying that soon or looking forward to that. The full moon usually shows a time of culmination, of enlightenment, of things happening. It can also be a house for publishing. So if you have been looking to publish that book or an article, now is a good time to do that, Aquarius. It is also a time where higher learning is featured. If you're graduating from a class, especially this spring, there's a lot of higher learning that is shining on your ninth house, which has to do with things that you have been developing over the past 6 months since we had the new moon in Libra. It may just be that you are absorbing all of that information, or that you are putting that information to use. This shows that whatever work you have been doing in terms of higher learning, it's really coming to fulfillment for you during this time. It's also a time of, travel, higher learning, spirituality, publishing. Because this Libra full moon is so centered on idealism and higher ideals, this could be a real time for you when you bring into balance those higher ideals that you have been studying or learning about. Higher learning and higher ideals, those can be integrated at this time. This ninth house corresponds with Sagittarius, which is usually very optimistic, very happy-go-lucky, very forward-thinking. So that may be a theme for you right now, Aquarius, that with all this that you've been studying and gaining over the past 6 months, you may have an insight into how to apply those higher ideals to life, or go spread the news and go share the news of that, because Sagittarius usually is a pioneer who goes out and explores and brings back that information and knowledge from other cultures or other philosophies and shares it with the world. So it may be a good time to, especially if you've been studying a subject, Aquarius, to go ahead and publish an article or give a lecture or somehow share that higher learning that you've received with others. For Pisces, this full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your 8th house. This is a house of the hidden mysteries. This is a house of transformation. So this could be that you're getting some sort of an enlightenment or graduation in terms of things that have been secret to you or secret to others. It may be that you discover something that has been hidden away, a hidden piece of information, especially how it relates to your balance between yourself and others. Like I said earlier, these two signs, both Pisces and Libra, are very idealistic. So they can tend to champion the ideals in a relationship or situation to the detriment of considering themselves in it. So Pisces, you may have some access to some information. Full moons illuminate and enlighten in the area where the chart is that they fall. This is 8th house for you, which is things that are usually in the dark or hidden, mysteries, information that hasn't been available to us. So in this case, you may discover some secrets. You may be bringing some secrets to light when this 8th house full moon happens for you on the 23rd. So expect to see some illumination, some transformation, hidden information to come to light. It's a good time to try to solve any mysteries that you may have been wondering about before. All of that is featured for you, Pisces, with this full moon in your 8th house. Good time to bring up things that have been, especially with this lunar eclipse, good to bring out things and shine light on things that have been hidden under the surface. A lot of secrets can be revealed during this time. For Aries, this full moon lunar eclipse happens in your 7th house, which is the house of partnerships. So this is a time when you may just be enjoying the partnership that you're currently in, or it's shining a light on the partnership that you're in, or it could be shining a light on just your partner, your dynamics in relation to partnerships. So if you are not in partnership and you would like to be, this is really casting a spotlight on this section for you, and also on what may be challenging for you or what may need to be released with this lunar eclipse. There's a light being shined in that area, but there's also that shadow that's being featured as well. So it's asking you to review what is it that you currently enjoy and have come to completion with, come to a level of enlightenment with, of knowledge regarding your partnerships, and where is an area that you still have yet to work on. So it's featuring this mostly in terms of illumination and celebration, culmination. It's sort of saying like you have arrived, you're at a place where this partnership theme is being highlighted, but it's also highlighting the shadow aspect. So it's asking you to review in what ways do you show up in partnership that still need to be addressed so that full moon energy can be complete. And if you have been working towards a partnership for the past 6 months or investing in one, right now is a time where you get to enjoy that spotlight on it. Or you may have some illumination, some insights regarding a partnership. That's what full moon energy is, as well as the dark or the shadow aspects of it. So Aries, right now, your full moon is highlighting this partnership area. 7th house. For Taurus, this full moon lunar eclipse is showing up in your 6th house, which is the house of daily routines. It's the house of duty and work and our habits, our health, our lifestyle. So with this full moon, it's saying to me that if you have been investing in developing good lifestyle habits, if you've been working on your diet or your exercise or things that you like to do every day, being organized, that's all 6th house stuff, that you may be receiving some nice rewards from that discipline. That's another 6th house theme. And if you are not enjoying those rewards right now, it may be time where that is featured. It may be time to look at what your daily eating habits are, what your work habits are, what your schedule is like, what your patterns and routines, things that you do on a day-to-day basis. It's shining a light there. That's what the full moon helps us with. So it's either that you're coming to a culmination of investment in that sort of discipline for the past 6 months since the new moon in Libra, or it may be time to review things in that area and see if there are changes that you want to make. It's showing me that there may be a lot that you are enjoying in that area, but there's still that, with the lunar eclipse, there's still an area of shadow that may be needing to be addressed. So it's looking like there may be a lot of things about your lifestyle that you like, that you want to keep, or it might be a time to review that, see what it is about your lifestyle, daily habits, exercise, diet, schedules, patterns, even work schedules that you like, and then see what the lingering aspect is with the lunar eclipse, the shadow area where it's not quite complete, or that some areas that you may still want to address further. So that's what's going on for you, Taurus, with this full moon in Libra. For Gemini, this full moon in Libra is happening in your 5th house, which is the house of true love, of children, of creativity, and projects of expression. So anything basically that you put out to the world or that you enjoy in terms of love. So if any of you have children, Gemini, this is going to be a real time for focus on enjoying your children, as well as looking at what sort of aspects of them are in shadow. What sort of aspects do you still want to work on helping to guide and shape and mold them? Maybe some bad habits of your kids. Mostly they're just a source of enjoyment for you right now, but there may be that, with that lunar eclipse, there may be some areas that you want to help guide them. Or with your true love, if this is a trine configuration, so it could be that with your true love, it's shining a light on that. You may be able to find your true love during this time, or you may just be enjoying time with your love partner. enjoying all the things that you love about them, with this full moon highlighting that. However, with that lunar eclipse, there are some areas where you may have to accept that shadow portion of them, Gemini, along with all this light and illumination that's happening there. And then also it can mean with creative projects that the light is on you. The light is on what you're giving birth to and what you're being creative about and expressing. So there's a lot of spotlight imagery when a full moon happens. That's sort of like spotlight energy. But with the lunar eclipse, it's also saying that there might be some areas that are still in need of improvement. So if you've been putting a project out there or expressing something, it's almost saying like if you're putting on a play that most of it is ready to go and it's being featured and highlighted, but there may be some shadow areas that need addressing. So whether that's regards to your children, your true love, or creative projects, Gemini, this is all featured for you with this full moon in Libra, and then also the lunar eclipse showing up there too. For Cancer, this lunar eclipse and full moon in Libra is showing up in your 4th house, which is the home. So this is an area where a focus is going to be either on your house, where you live, your home life, anything that relates to home and nurturing. You may be completing a home renovation project, or something that has to do with like rearranging your furniture or interior decoration, even something as mundane as building a deck outside, or some sort of home improvement project. Or it could be focusing your attention on what is your home life like. There's a full moon there, so it's shining a lot of light on your home. As well as with the lunar eclipse there, it's also bringing up the shadow aspect of what things you may want to change and address. There may be a way in which you enjoy your home, or you've established a lot, you've come to a good place with your home, but there's still some like niggling things or some shadow aspects that you want to address. It's not the complete light of the full moon shining there. There's still some shadows, so it may be a time where you can address just the final details on your home life, or things that you may want to change about your home life. That area is featured for you right now, Cancer. And also Cancer, the 4th house is your natural house of home, so you have a natural focus there anyway, but with this full moon, it's highlighting that. It's bringing a lot of light and attention to your home life. So you could either just be just enjoying it, or wanting to adjust and just change those lunar eclipse aspects of what is causing shadow in terms of your home. It may be that you enjoy most of it, but there's a couple things that are just blocking the light from fully shining there. For Leo, this full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your 3rd house, which is communication. So it may be a time when you're able to fully radiate your golden Leo light anyway. Leos are generally 5th house, which has to do with expression anyway. So 3rd house of communication, this is a time when you may want to really burst forth and communicate. You may have a lot of things to say during this time with this full moon in Libra, especially regarding yourself and others. So how you're partnering in the world. What is the message that you have to communicate, Leo? It may be a really good time to release any messages that you want to share or communicate with the world. It's a good time to put forth anything that you have to say. If you have a message that you're looking to broadcast in terms of radio or television or film, or any way that you can get your message out there, right now is really highlighted for you, Leo. So also if you want to write something, this can also be featured. Any form of communication, dialogue, putting your message out there, it's all full moon. Spotlight is on that for you right now, Leo. Do notice that there is a lunar eclipse that's happening with this. So there may be some ways in which certain things are still in the shadow. You may want to do some double editing if because it's the full moon is not complete. There's still a little shadow on it. So it may take some time to revise your speech, or you may need to employ the help of an editor if you're speaking at all. If you're putting forth a message or communicating, especially if it's relation to contracts, you may just want another set of eyes to look that over to make sure that your communication and your message is clear in the way that you want it, because there's a lot of power, there's a lot of spotlight, there's a lot featured for you in terms of communication, but because of that lunar eclipse, you may want to look at those areas that are a little bit still in shadow. For Virgo, this is happening, this full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your second house of possessions and assets. So I think it's a good time, Virgo, if you are looking to acquire something that is very valuable, if you've been saving up for something, now is a good time to purchase that large item. If you're looking to make investments, now could be a good time for that. Just be careful that you do a little research, because that lunar eclipse is casting shadow on part of it, even though most of the energy is that it's featured and highlighted in terms of assets, possessions, values, anything that is of value to you. The second house features that. But because of the lunar eclipse, it's saying, look at the underside of it. Look at the shadow side. Are you acquiring something just to impress others? Is there a catch in the contract? Is there something that needs to be illuminated further? Do you need to do more research on this large product that you may be acquiring? Or are there any strings attached, is what I'm getting for you with the second house with this lunar eclipse shadow. It's focusing on your possessions, values, assets, or are you wanting to add more to that? The light is shining here, and you've come to a culmination of an area where you may just be enjoying the assets that you have. But if there is some shadow cast there by this lunar eclipse, there may be some ways in which you need to adjust your relationship with your possessions, your values, and your assets. So that can be a real source, again, of illumination for you right now, Virgo. So that is the wrap up for this full moon and how it impacts each of the 12 signs. I just want to thank you all for watching. As always, yours in the stars. I also want to let you know that I'm releasing a course very soon through Daily Ohm, which is about how to learn the major arcana of the tarot in 22 days. It's a 1 card a day course, and it contains over an hour of recorded video. I have little videos for each card that describe its archetypal information for each card, what it means in the upright position as well as the reverse position, and different astrological correspondences as well as mythological correspondences. So if you're interested in checking that out, you can just go ahead and click on the little info box there. I'll have a link to where you can learn more about that. It's not released yet, but it's coming up very soon here in spring 2016.